Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another video. I'm so excited to be talking about low impact living in and talking about today Washington DC and the surrounding areas. So if you don't know, my boyfriend lives in DC, and so I've just spent a few kind of weeks there, and yeah, I wanted to share with you the kind of tips that I got from living there for a couple of weeks. Not really living, but you know, holidaying there. And I will be spending some more time there in the future, so I thought, yeah, this would be great if you're looking to go on a trip there, or if you want to, you know, just visit it, or if you're thinking of even moving there and you want to know kind of what bulk stores there are, where to eat, all that kind of fun stuff. I thought I would share all of that with you today. But firstly, I just wanted to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. You guys know I love Skillshare and have been using Skillshare for months and months now, especially because it's such a wonderful tool to use to gain much better skills at things like photography and videography and so much more. Skillshare is an online community for creators with more than 22,000 classes in, as I said, videography, productivity, photography, and so many more. Skillshare is great for people who want to make their passion a full-time job, just like I've made my activism with the low impact movement kind of my full-time job now. And or, you know, just people who want to progress in their own lives in an area that they're really passionate about. Skillshare gives you the tools, all of them, that you need to meet your goals. Premium membership begins from around $10 a month, but for the first 100 people to sign up with the link in the description, you can get 2 months of Skillshare for free. But these spots typically go quite quickly, so make sure to get in there. Grab a cup of tea and let's get straight into the video. So firstly, I want to talk to you about bulk stores and bulk buying. In the place where my boyfriend lives, he lives just over the river from Georgetown, so kind of like Arlington area, which isn't technically DC, but I mean, DC is so tiny that I feel like it basically counts because he works there. Anyway, in Arlington there are, and obviously this is applicable for the rest of DC, so there's a Whole Foods and there is also a Mum's Organic and a Trader Joe's. So Whole Foods obviously is one of the most well-known ones, and it has a huge bulk section and a huge produce section. The only thing is, for me personally, I think that DC is an expensive city and I live in London, and I think the Whole Foods is quite expensive. I don't necessarily think it's very accessible to everyone, and so I think if you do go there, I would just be aware that it's not going to be your kind of cheapest option. However, they do have an incredible bulk section, of course, and I went there and I used my own bags and they were absolutely fine about it. But the problem is with Whole Foods is that it differs from place to place. So I think if you took your own bags, then you don't have to talk to anyone, so you don't necessarily have a problem. But if you take a jar or something, there isn't anywhere to tar it, so I don't think that that would be a good option. I personally took my bags and then I just wrote the number, the PU number, on them, so that when we got to the counter, they could just see the number, type it in, put the bag on the thing, and then it was done. So I found that really helpful, really simple. And so I think for Whole Foods in particular, just buying bulk food and buying bulk vegetables is probably a good option. So the second option for bulk foods that we found was a Mum's Organic. We're going to Mum's Organics because apparently they've got a bulk section, so we're gonna go and try it out and we'll let you know if it's good. There it is. There it is. Mum's, mummy, mum. So I think Mum's Organic is really great, and Jess with Less, big shout out to her. I met up with her when I was in DC and she told me about it and we went to go and check it out. And it's the only place I have ever found bulk tofu that is easy to get. Like, they have a massive bucket of it, and I think you just take your own container because they have a place to tar it as well, and you can just put the tofu in there. And I'm really annoyed that we didn't find this until my last day in DC, but if I go back, I'll obviously check it out. Mum's Organic, even though the bulk section is smaller than Whole Foods, it's all organic and it's more affordable than Whole Foods, I think, when we're looking at some of the pricing of the items. You can also get coffee unpackaged, you can also get a whole load of things like olive oil and apple cider vinegar and stuff in glass jars. And I found that for me personally, as a plant-based eater, that it was much easier to find plant-based meals there and alternatives and kind of the stuff that you would want. They even had a section that you could buy reusable items like to-go stuff, and they also had, which I have been looking forever, is an alternative to Ziploc bag. Oh, these are a great idea. good alternative to Ziploc bags. Although I don't get it, it says plastic free. What is it made of? Oh, I don't like how they have salmon on the back. Whatever. Reusable, half gallon, plastic free. What does that mean?
Made of silicone.
Ooh. Women owned, yes. They have silicone ones there. I don't know what the brand is because I didn't buy any because I don't need them. But if I ever did go hiking again and I had nothing that was genuinely helpful for that, I would consider getting them. I can't remember what they're called though. Anyway, it was a really good option because I've been hiking before and I kind of took like these cotton bags, which were great, but they kind of leaked some of the spice stuff that we had because we made our own meals, so we didn't have to buy the packaged ones. But anyway, getting off topic, let's move on. I was really surprised at the amount of bulk stuff they had in Mum's. They had bulk spices, they have bulk tea as well, which I think is really great. And they had, what was that other thing? Oh yeah, it's kind of like some like body scrub type things, I think. Yeah, they had a bulk one of those as well, which I thought was so cool. And I filmed all of it, so hopefully I'm overlaying all of this so you can see what the hell I'm talking about. But those would be my top choices, Whole Foods and Mum's Organic, and there are a few of them dotted around DC as well, of course. I think they probably change depending on which store you go to, but the Mum's that I went to was quite small for a supermarket and yet was incredible. Like, it was so, so good. Anyway, let's move on from bulk stores. So the next thing is farmers markets. So we're heading to the farmers market now, which I can see from the window, which I'll show you. Just down there. And I am already having a coffee. That's because I've got loads of stuff we want to do today. So I'm gonna have a coffee and then probably get another one when we're there. And yeah, I'm gonna show you the kind of what's available at farmers markets in DC, but we're just outside, we're in Arlington, but basically the same thing, basically. Yeah, so let's go. Taking 2 reusable bags to carry the stuff in, and then we have just 3 veggie bags. This one is mine and these 2 are my boyfriend's. We're not going to buy very much stuff, which is why we're only taking 3, but then any other stuff we can just put in here. And then of course our coffee stuff. So let's go.
You don't even know.
Just looking at your coffee cup. What's saying hey?
No, like, the collar's too tight. It's yanking it all the time.
We are ready.
I think. I mean,
yeah, no problem, man.
it really works so well with that.
Coffee in London.
Cream or milk?
No, that's fine. It's just like that.
And cream or milk for you?
She's got double fisting it for her fix.
So good. Oh, they're both really good. Now in Arlington, where my boyfriend lives, there was an incredible farmers market. It was quite small, but it gave you basically everything you needed. So if you didn't want to go to a supermarket to buy fresh produce, you could go to these farmers markets instead. I'm also going to put a list in the description below of all the other farmers markets that there are in DC, because obviously if you're staying in like Bethesda or like northern DC, you're not going to want to go all the way south to Arlington just to go to the farmers market. Although it's so good and I would recommend it. So one of the things that we did go is we went to Cam's Kettle, which is a coffee shop or kind of like a coffee stall, and they are so cool there. I really like them. We got some coffee in our reusable cups and it was really nice to have a chat with them, and yeah, it was really great to talk to them about using your own coffee cups to bring to coffee shop and all that kind of stuff. And then we got some fresh coffee from them that they ground for us and then we took home, which was really cool because then it meant that, I don't know, it just felt a bit more personal. So they also have this really amazing pickle stand that have these massive tubs of different pickles and different kind of vinegars with different things like habanero and ginger and they also have things like sauerkraut, and oh my god, it was so delicious. I would recommend going just for those things. But they also have wonderful like farmers, kind of local farmers come and have all their fruits and vegetables, and I love the different that you can get in the US. They have these wonderful squashes of all different sizes. Acorn squash are my favorite, But what's also great is they have so many different kinds of apples and peaches and everything that's local and seasonal. So that's the point of these farmers markets. What's really great about them is that everything is local, seasonal and kind of homemade, but also made on a small scale. That's why farmers markets are particularly good, because when you buy something like the pickles, for example, they have been made on a much smaller scale because they're making it for, you know, farmers markets or for small independent shops or things like that. And while they're not the cheapest, it's really, I don't know, I just prefer supporting like the people at the pickle stand than Whole Foods, for example, you know? What's amazing is seeing all the farmers, and then I was there when the season was changing. So we had incredible peaches for the first week, and then it felt like the season changed really quickly because then suddenly it was like the last of the peaches, and then all the apples came out, and you get to try all the different apples, which is so great because then you know which ones you like and which ones you don't like. I just really don't have enough good things. Is that how you say it? I have so many good things to say about farmers market, and especially this one. The coffee's great, and also they have a bread stand which you can choose. She asked us, do you want it in brown paper or do you want plastic? And I was filming, so I wasn't thinking, and we just said paper, and we got a paper bag even though we had a reusable bag, which was annoying. But I think if you did bring a reusable bag, they would be more than happy, especially if they're giving you the option of plastic or paper. Yeah, so farmers markets are a big thing in DC, and I would definitely check them out if you have time and you're staying there, or you live there, or you're moving there, or anything like that. I love them, and it was, I mean, I'm such a nerd, but it was the highlight of my week, every week, going there. Just saying. Okay, moving on to transportation. Transportation in the kind of like East Coast or like Northeast is so much easier from what I have gathered. And I only know about like Boston and New York and DC, so do not quote me on that. In DC, they have a metro system, which is really good. They also have bikes, which you can rent, and you also have these electric scooters. And depending on where you are, there'll be a different kind of brand. So I think at the moment, I know there are 3 brands. There's like Bird, and then like Lime, and then one other one. Annoying thing about the Bird ones is, or the kind of electric scooters, is that you need a phone that works so that you can like connect to it. But my phone, I only used Wi-Fi because I didn't want to get a new SIM card while I was there. But if you can, they're a really great way because obviously they're electric and they're a good way of like getting around. If you obviously needs to get somewhere that's like, if you're comfortable going on them and stuff like that, they're also really fun, but you should be careful, and yeah, don't let children on them. I don't know, they're really fun if you know what you're doing and you're just wanting to try it out. I mean, we would take them from my boyfriend's apartment to kind of Whole Foods or Mum's Organic when we were trying to like figure out the best shops to go to and things like that, and it was super fun. But I think it can rack up a price. Like it's $1 to start, and then I'm not sure, depending on how far you go, it can probably get expensive. But if you're using it just for a small period of time, then I think you're fine. So the bikes, which I really like, are, again, they're not particularly cheap. I really don't feel like DC is that cheap, to be honest. But we rented bikes and it cost $8, I think, for 24 hours. And you have to use it in like 30-minute increments. So we rent the bikes and we cycled into through Georgetown and into kind of where all the monuments were. And we cycled. This is also a really great way to see the city faster without having to walk everywhere, but also quite cheaply. So we cycled along Georgetown. We got to kind of the White House area, like Farragut North, I think it is, or Farragut West. I forget. But you can obviously also get the metro. But DC roads, I find, especially in the US, that the roads are really wide. So you have so much space as a cyclist. And it was great to kind of see the executive building and see all the White House, and then cycle up to like the Lincoln Memorial and see the mall. Is it called the mall? Or the lawn? I'm not sure what it's called. And then seeing that massive tower. It's really cool because then you can just hop on your bike and you can just go around, cycle, and you can stop and put your bike away and then get back on it. And as long as it's under half an hour, it doesn't get any more expensive than those $8. I'm not saying that $8 is cheap. I mean, ours in London is £2 for the day. Just saying. But it's a good way of getting around that will be cheaper, because also with the metro, I really like the metro, but you should get a metro card and then you just kind of top it up. And the metro card, I think, costs $2. And then you put it up as much as you want, and it charges you depending on how far you're going. So, but I still don't think it's cheap. So from where my boyfriend lives to like Farragut North is, I don't know, several stops, but it costs like $2.50 just for one, and there's no option to get like a 7-day pass, I don't think, or like a whole day pass. So I tried to opt to cycle most places on my boyfriend's bike so that it was obviously free, or I walked places. I used to walk to Georgetown a lot because it's only like a half-an-hour walk, so it's not particularly far. But yeah, I think I'm trying to tell you that DC is expensive. I don't know what, I think it's because in London you can be cheaper, you just don't really realise, but I'll get into that in the low impact guide to London that's coming very soon. So yeah, that's transportation. So those are 3 main transportations that I used. Sometimes what you have to realize is if you're going to like BWI airport or if you're going to IAD airport, if you're not going at the right time, then there's no transport and you have to get a taxi, and taxis again are not cheap. I think it cost me $70 to get from his apartment to BWI airport because I was flying so early in the morning. And that, my friends, is not low impact at all. Okay, anyway, moving on. I didn't go to a lot of vegan restaurants when I was in DC because because he lives there, so we were just basically making all of our food at home. I think there is, the best restaurant in DC I think is actually a vegan restaurant. It's called something like the Fancy Radish, I'm not sure, but it's also a Michelin star restaurant. However, it is exceedingly expensive and it was too expensive for us to go, so we didn't go. But lots of people say that it's, you know, incredible, and if you are going for an anniversary or or you just have a lot of money to spare, that could be for you. However, it was far too expensive for me, as I'm sure it is for probably a lot of people. The only other vegan restaurant we went to is a place called Farewell, and my boyfriend's roommate is vegan, as is his girlfriend, so they took us there, which was really nice. And the place it was incredible. Like for me, it was amazing. We had burrata, like vegan burrata, which was, I don't know, if you've ever tasted real burrata, I mean, the last time I ate burrata was like 5 years ago, but I can still remember what it tastes like, and it was not a good representation of what it was. So I think if you're going there expecting it to be a delicious, real burrata, it's not gonna be, but you know, whatever. However, I did have the pancakes, and my boyfriend had kind of like eggs Benedict, it was like tofu Benedict, and that was amazing, and my thing was amazing. The avocado on toast, which Priyanka had, was not good because it had like this tofu feta that was weird. But I think the sweet things are delicious, and we had deep fried kind of, I don't know what it was kind of like French toast, but I feel like in the US French toast is very different from what our French toast is in the UK. But it was like deep fried, and it had this kind of chocolate cream, I don't know, it was incredible, and we all shared that, and it was so good. Yeah, so that, I'm not a very good representation of the plant-based eating there because we ate mostly our stuff at home. And I would recommend, because DC is quite expensive, especially when eating out, if you stay there, try and stay somewhere with a kitchen so you can make a lot of your own food. That is definitely how you're going to be able to be more sustainable and reduce your waste as much as possible. And then I guess the only last thing to say is the sites are basically all free to see. There are a few museums that you have to pay to go into, but some of the best ones are all free. Like, I think the African American History Museum is free, which is amazing because it's gonna swear then because it's so good. It's incredibly interesting, and you have to go. It's a must. I also went to the Renwick Gallery and saw a Burning Man exhibition with Jess, which was so great, and that was all free. And then we obviously use the bikes to cycle around everywhere and see all the monuments. The Lincoln Memorial is obviously free as well. And if you look up online, I'll put the link again in the description of a list of all the museums that are free and all the ones that you have to pay to. But the Botanical Gardens were again one of my favorite things because it's free and it's right by all of the other monuments and stuff which you can go and see afterwards. And it's really great because it's beautiful, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's probably it for the low impact kind of living in DC. I might do like a full vegan guide to DC and any other places that I go. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you for watching. The next one is going to be on Brighton or London, so watch out for that, coming very, very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and again, always, 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 thank you for joining me for another video. It's always great to see you here. Give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe and comment any other places that you would like to see a low impact living in, because I want this to be a really great series where I can help you and to explore all the other kind of bulk and low impact options that there are out there. I just want to say a big thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. I really appreciate your support, and you're helping me create the low impact movement and helping that website to basically keep going. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you very, very soon. Bye.